afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Jen. I will be talking to you guys. It didn't have your direct attention. So, I will be talking to you guys about oral peptide delivery. Peptides are small fragments of proteins that make up 45% of the new drug that is being released today. And proteins such as insulin needs to be injected because they are very quickly degraded by acid and different enzymes that are present in the stomach. So we definitely need more options for peptide drug delivery, which is why my objective for this summer was to develop a carrier system that will effectively deliver drug-loaded mucoadhesive patches to the small intestine without any degradation in the stomach. And this is a picture of the protein shots that patients need to take. Mucoadhesive patches effectively deliver therapeutics into the small intestine. They are a unique mucoadhesive device that was developed here in UCSB in Samir Mitraguchi lab that delivers peptides and macromolecular drugs via oral route. These patches adhere onto the small intestinal wall and basically forces the small intestine to absorb all the drugs that are loaded onto these patches. When I say enteric, you guys say coating. Enteric?
Coating.
Louder, you guys say enteric?
Coating.
Yeah, so this is very important for my presentation. Enteric coating material that I used, enteric coating material that I used does not degrade in acid, or rather degrades in any solution above 6.0. By coating the capsules with enteric coating, it will enable the capsules to withstand stomach acid up to an hour, which is called the gastric transit time in fancy words, or in simple terms, the time that the time that the food particles take to pass through our stomach, and release the capsules in the small intestine, which is pH 6.5. So this is the enteric coated capsules, and this is what we want to see. These are the mucoadhesive patches. The mission of the capsules is to withstand stomach acid, as I just said, and dissolve relatively fast in the small intestine and release the mucoadhesive patches. I found I needed to find the optimal concentration and the amount of enteric coating that needs to be on the capsules to, like I said, last up to an hour in acid, but dissolve relatively fast in a pH 6.5, which is the pH of our small intestine. I first of all prepared different concentrations of enteric coating, coated the capsules, and then prepared PBS, buffer solution of pH 2.5 and pH 6.5. Then I heated both solutions up to 37 degrees. 37 degrees, which is our physiological temperature. And with a propeller mixer, I created a current, which mimics the food particles passing through our gastrointestinal tract. The capsule was placed in pH 2.5 for an hour, and which represents the capsule just sitting in our stomach for an hour, and then transferred into pH 6.5, which represents the capsule entering our small intestine. I tested 5%, 10%, and 12.5%, concentrations of enteric coating, and found out that the 10% enteric coating successfully protects the capsule degradation in a stomach-like environment. All of these capsules were placed in pH 2.5 solution, and you can see that the 10% and 12.5% successfully protects the capsules from any degradation. However, 5% is too weak to protect the capsules. Then I found out, then we need to find the right concentration that will allow the capsules to dissolve fast and release the mucoadhesive patches. And I found out that the 10% enteric coating allows, as you can see, is allowing the capsules to dissolve and releasing the mucoadhesive patches right there, whereas 12.5% is not even letting the capsules dissolve. This is a clip of the capsules dissolving in pH 6.5 now and releasing the mucoadhesive patches. We have a problem here. The patches are adhering to one another, and as I said before, we want these patches to adhere to the small intestine, not onto themselves. So which is why I coated the mucoadhesive patches themselves with enteric coating. And when I coated them, the enteric coating safely allowed the pouches to be released from the capsules individually. And this is another picture of an uncoated mucoadhesive pouch. You can't really see here, but they're actually adhering to one another and adhering to the inner walls of the capsules, which is not what we want to see. I tested 5% and 12.5% enteric coating, which are the two extremes of the concentrations, and found out that the 5% enteric coated pouches delay the drug release for the first 10 minutes, which allows the pouches to be released from the capsules separately, as we saw from the picture in the previous slide. And we want to skip to 2 hours right here. This middle gray bar is the 5%, and you can see that the pouches that are coated with 5% enteric coating is allowing the pouches to release about the same amount of drug as the uncoated pouches, whereas the 12.5%, which is a very strong concentration, is not even allowing the pouches to release half of the drugs. This graph further supports the previous graph in that the 5% enteric coated solution, or concentration, is the most optimal concentration to coat the pouches with, because the uncoated pouches and the coated pouches, or the 5% coated pouches, release about 40% of the drug, whereas the 12.5% only releases 20%. This is a clip of the capsules releasing the enteric coated pouches this time. Yay, they're being released separately. This is exactly what we want to see. Kudos. This time, I put the mucoadhesive pouches in the capsules themselves and repeated the process that I did with the capsules. So I put the coated mucoadhesive pouches in the capsules and placed them in pH 2.5 for 1 hour. And for the first hour, you can see that there is no drug being released, which is good. Then it was later transferred into pH 6.5. And for the first 15 minutes, the capsule is being dissolved, so that's why there is no drug being released. But after about 15 minutes, there is drug being released. What is very interesting about this graph is that the capsules that included the enteric coated pouches in them actually released more drug than the uncoated pouches. This is because, as you guys saw from the clips, the enteric coated pouches, they are coming out of the capsules individually, therefore more surface area to release all the drugs. However, when the pouches are uncoated, as they are being released, they adhere to one another, thereby preventing or minimizing the surface area where the drug can be released. So it's actually better if you coat the pouches also with enteric coating. The recipe this is like a summary of my PowerPoint. The recipe to make an ideal carrier system for proteins. We first need to coat the capsules with 10% enteric coating to maintain integrity in pH 2.5 for 1 hour, then allow it to dissolve relatively fast once it is transferred into pH 6.5. Then we need to coat the pouches with 5% enteric coating to allow the pouches to be released from the capsules individually, and also increase the drug being released after some time. For future works, I will need to test in vitro experiments with the capsules. I was going to put a picture of a pig intestine here, because I'm going to use a pig intestine, but my mom was like, no. And I will need to perform capsule dissolution experiments with more pouches inside of the capsule. I would like to thank my mentor, Samir Mitragotri, who was my PI, and Aaron Anselmo for making those awesome clips for me, Tyler and EUREKA from EUREKA, and thank you!